Hey everyone, grateful to have you guys tuning in for today's message. And today I'm going to be talking about shadow work. And I feel like this is a really interesting topic for us to be having for a multitude of different reasons. And I want to talk about it basically from a very personal level and also a collective level. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in this discussion. So, as usual, play along at home. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. And definitely, if you do find anything in this message today of value, I invite you to share it with the people who are closest to you. And definitely, let's all go on this growth journey together. That's what I ultimately love, sharing all these insights that I'm personally having on my own personal development journey. Because I feel like we can all grow together, right? And so there might be something that I mention here today or in any of these messages that actually resonates with you and actually has a powerful impact on influencing you to dive a bit deeper into your own self-awareness, your own awareness and understanding of others, and let's make it cool, right? Like, let's just dive into it. So I would love to hear from anybody who's tuning in right now. Have you done any shadow work? Do you know what shadow work is? I'm going to dive into an angle of it that I feel is just completely neglected, and it's why people get very stunted on their personal development journeys. So if you're someone who, and I will talk into and explain what shadow work is for any of you guys who aren't really familiar with that. But for those of you who are and have been into shadow work potentially for a long time, this is going to be an interesting one for you, particularly if you feel like you've kind of plateaued in your personal development, or particularly if you feel like you've built a lot of consciousness around your, your so-called shadow, right? Those potentially negative aspects of yourself, but you kind of are at this point where you're like, well, why do they still have a grip on me? Like, why is it that I can bring consciousness to these, shining the light, on my shadows, but why do they still end up kind of having this, this hold on me, right? And so today, what I want to tap into, I feel could have real power in actually giving you some answers to that and something to work on that will ultimately project you forward in your personal development journey and get over this hurdle of feeling like your growth has been stunted. So, today's message is shadow work is incomplete without owning the positive aspects of yourself that you have been blind to. Okay, so that's what we're going to be diving into. But basically, I want to talk about a little quick introduction about shadow work for those of you who aren't really familiar, or for those of you who just want a bit of a recap, right? So basically, in personal development, a huge way of developing yourself is shining light on the aspects of yourself that you've disowned, right? And whether you're conscious of your disowned parts or not, they're really they're a real driving force in your life, right? In all circumstances. And so basically, it's very important to look at and find those aspects of yourself that you have disconnected from, and in order to reintegrate those aspects, because you're either being driven unconsciously by things that you don't like about yourself, or you're bringing consciousness to the wholeness of who you are as a human being and directing your life consciously from those places, right? So basically, the very well-known way of looking at shadow work is basically that you've got a shadow because your attention is focused on other things, and also looking at what personality is here to do, right? Basically, our personality, the set of ways of being, how we would identify ourselves, is basically a defensive structure, right? So it's designed to protect you. And so what happens is, as we are children, maybe we experience some sort of traumatic experiences, which we all do on a subjective level, right? Or we just get the picture from the people who we grow up with, our friends, family, teachers, society at large. We get kind of a picture as to how we should be in the world, who we should be in the world, that will create a defense against pain and hopefully give us more maximized pleasure, right, in life. And so that's really what the structure of personality is. It's not who you are, it's who your subconscious has decided for you to limit yourself to and operate in the lines of, so that you can protect yourself, right, from hurt and harm, and ideally move you closer towards pleasure. So what happens is, as we grow up and we're from that young age developing who we think we need to be in order to get love, acceptance, approval, stay away from pain, attract pleasure into our lives, basically what happens is we take that personality with us all the way through to adulthood. Most of us never go into the deeper work of this. We've become so identified with our defensive strategies that it just becomes our comfort zone, and we just think it's us, right? We believe our personality to be us. But what a personality has to do in order to exist is it has to focus its attention on certain aspects that are positive and align with those. And it has to be blind to opposing, so-called opposing traits of being, personality traits, or, who you identify with and whatnot, right? So we automatically have shadows when we're operating from the perspective of a personality, right? Which is a defensive structure, like I mentioned. This is, as a side note, this is one of the major reasons I am so 100% back looking into personality typology, because it gives you clarity. Like, you can't know what you're blind to unless you have something to push back off, right? And that's why I love personality psychology, because it identifies what is your defensive structure, right? Your personality is your defensive structure. Let's look at that. Let's shine light on what you're unconscious to, so that you can ultimately grow yourself and be free, right? And become a whole person. But what happens is, most people, when they're doing so-called shadow work, right, they just think that in the shadow, right, in the darkness, is only the negative, right? All those negative aspects of us that we don't want to be, and we don't want anybody else to see within us, right? We don't own those certain aspects of who we are, right? Because they feel like they're going to be painful to own, right? Because maybe we got the message or the experience earlier on in our lives that, hey, don't be a person like that, right? Because that's going to create a lot of pain. So totally disown those parts of your humanness, and let's step into the opposite of that, right? And basically, we're unconsciously defending against pain. We're not even conscious of it. Remember, we've gotten so comfortable with our personality, we believe ourselves to be that, rather than the wholeness of who we are. So, it might be that we don't want to be that kind of person, right? Or, like I said, some traumatic experience happened, or maybe we even witnessed somebody else be a certain way and we saw what that got them, right? And we were like, oh, we're not going there, right? And basically, there's always a reason why we've dissociated from those blind spots, right? That cause pain. Always a reason why we think of ourselves as so different to the next person, right? And so unable to operate in ways that we deem negative that other people might do that, right? But basically, the major part of what I want to share with you guys today, which I've never heard anybody talking about this except for one person, right? And so I really want to shine some light on this, because when I heard this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so true. But I know in my own life, right? Because, you guys know I'm all things personal development and being the human guinea pig, right? Testing things out in my own life so that I can then get an experience of it to know if I feel like it's valuable or not, right? And this one is super valuable. So when you focus on shadow work, one aspect of that is what's talked about all the time, which is finding and focusing on the negative aspects of yourself, so-called negative aspects of yourself that you don't want to look at, you don't want to identify as, and you certainly don't want anybody else seeing within you, right? Because again, it goes against the defensive structure you've created as your personality to protect yourself, so-called protect yourself from pain and move yourself towards pleasure, right? But here's the piece that's missing. Shadow work is not complete when we do not also shine light on that positive aspects of ourselves that we're blind to. There are so many of us walking throughout life being totally blind to our gifts, to our greatness, to what we have to offer, to the value that's inherently within us. Right? And so when we do that, we might be doing some great work on owning the darker negative aspects of our shadow, but we're not really moving the needle forward because we're not actually owning still our whole humanness, because we actually have to see what is also very positive and beautiful and brilliant about us in order to be whole human beings. And I know in my own personal journey, how incredibly meaningful it's been to me when I've had different people that I really trust, I feel like they're being incredibly genuine, share with me and reflect to me positive aspects of myself. And I had to really look at this and I had to go, what? Obviously it's such a beautiful gift that we can give to others, right? To shine light on their greatness. I love doing that, right? That's why I love being a coach. Right? And probably why I attract a lot of people who are just like me, who can be very blind to those positive aspects and very determined to find all the negative stuff and focus on that, but they're kind of neglecting the positive aspects, right? And so I had to look at this. I had to go, okay, I understand that it's so beautiful to receive amazing, genuine compliments from people and positive feedback about the positive aspects of who we are, but why is it so moving to me? Why is it so surprising to me? I've really had to look at this. And basically it comes down to the fact that I was being very unconscious and very blind to some of those positive aspects. And it always feels good when you shine light on something that's in the unconscious. It always feels incredibly freeing, right? Even the darkest aspects of yourself, right? It might be very confronting, but freedom is the best feeling in the world, right? When you wake up to what you've been blind to. And, it's so interesting how much we neglect the shadows, right? That are containing of our positive aspects. And it's one of the reasons why I think a really great process for you guys to go through, if you are feeling like you are somebody who neglects the positive aspects of yourself and you don't really own those, and maybe you do, like I said, a lot of the dark stuff, but you don't do any of the positive stuff, I want to invite you guys on a little bit of a challenge today. And that challenge is, I would like you to pick between 3 to say 5, or if you can get more, the better, right? Say 3 to 5 people in your life who know you. And it could be strangers, actually. This has been a very powerful process, but that's a side note, so I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, here's the challenge. Pick 3 to 5 people who are in your life who maybe they've known you your whole life, maybe they're new acquaintances, but basically that you really trust, right? That you have some trust. They're going to tell you the truth, right? If you ask for it, and you respect, right? These are the kind of people who you can see they, do something with their lives that you respect, or they have certain ways of being. You respect them and you trust them. All right. Now I want you to pick these 3 to 5 people, and I want you to ask them, hey, I'd love your honest, genuine feedback. Nothing you could say is going to hurt or harm me, because I trust you and I respect you. And I'd really love for you to help me with something. And the question that I have for you is, what positive aspects of myself do you see in me? What positive aspects do you see in me? What do you think is great about me? And this might be very challenging for a bunch of you to actually ask and even just put language to. And that really points to the point that you need some good quality feedback about your positive shadows. Okay? Because the point of life is becoming your most whole, deeply connected to all aspects of your humanness person, right? So that you can ultimately, a lot of this is about healing your own shadows, but by doing so, you also heal the collective shadows in this world. We've got a lot of stuff going around, right? Particularly in this environment. There's a lot of shadows going on, and we can look at it and we can say what people are doing wrong, but the better way to utilize your energy is to do the deep work on yourself, and to know that you shining light into those shadow aspects of who you are, both the negative and the positive, is actually collectively healing to the rest of the world. So want to help make a change? Like, you got to do this work, but it's not just about all the negative stuff. Like I'm saying, you've got to know what's also brilliant about you that you're staying blind to, and it's tripping you up. It is not just about owning the darkness of the negatives in you. It's also all the positives that you're keeping blind to as well. Too many people are suffering from really low self-esteem, and it's because they're not owning the greatness within the positive shadows within them. Okay, so hope that this does help and support you guys. And I always love getting to check in with you. So I'm about to jump in and have a chat with you guys. So drop me a comment. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. If you've got any questions or comments or words of wisdom that you want to share and contribute to today's conversation, I'd absolutely love to check in with you. So let me see. And also, like I said, if you feel like there are people in your life who need to own some of the positive aspects of who they are, and you feel like you constantly feel like you're pumping them up, and maybe it's just like, I wish this person could really see how good they are, and wake up to their greatness and all that sort of stuff. Or maybe you're not doing that, but like you can see that they could really benefit from this. I'd invite you to share this message with them. And also it might open the doors so that you guys could also do that reflective work to one another and go, hey, I'm not blowing smoke up your trumpet, right? I'm actually telling you the truth. This is the beautiful, amazing, positive aspects of yourself that I feel like maybe you might be a bit blind to, or maybe you're not, but this is what I really see in you. Okay, there is so much power in getting that feedback to awaken you to your blind spots in the positive. So I have got DB in the house, and Jeff's here, and DB, hello to you. Always good to see you. And Andre's here, and DB, you're from Utah. Gosh, I love Utah. And Misty's here as well, and Jake Castillo, and Judy, and Jake Castillo. Hola, amiga, Javier. Javier, okay, from San Diego. Good to have you here. And Amy's here as well, and Kenny and Elf, awesome. And hello to you, Ram. Always good to see you, my friend. And Bill, much love to you as usual. And Nas is here, and Wayne and Ram. I'm grateful that you're finding some great insights here today. And Renee, awesome to see you, my friend. And Samuel's here. And DB, this is amazing, V. You're awesome. Great information on how this can open up your mind. Love it. I'm so grateful to hear that, DB. Thanks for letting me know that this was a value. It's definitely been a value in my life. You know, everything that I share with you guys is ultimately because I'm getting value out of discovering it, or having an experience with something, or sharing a perspective that's working for me in a beneficial way. And I always do it because I love growing together, right? I feel like we're building a community of people who want to reach their limitless potentials, right? And so let's grow together. So I love that, DV. And Ram, important to capitalize on our strengths. Absolutely. So true. And Samuel, yeah, I don't accept compliments. Great post. Been AWOL for a while. Well, it's good to have you back, Samuel. And, you know, you bring up a really valid point in terms of sometimes it's very hard to receive compliments, right? And I do an 8-week empowerment program with people. And part of that is we do a whole week on the art of receiving. And basically with that process, like we do some different workshops around receiving compliments, right? Giving and receiving. But most people struggle with the receiving element. And, you know, receiving is a very feminine way of operating, right? Masculine energy is very giving. Feminine energy is very receiving. So naturally, I feel majority of women are more open to receiving, but that's not always true, because the degree to which you receive is the degree to which you feel deserving, right? And so most of us who are struggling with self-esteem issues, we just push away any sort of positive compliment, or also, you know, any sort of abundance in any way. So it's very much connected to our wealth as well. So, you know, that's why a lot of people they earn money, but then they're throwing it away, right? They can't seem to get ahead. And if you work on your receptivity, basically it can have a dramatic impact for the positive on that as well. So, you know, how we receive just small compliments can really shine light on how we're, you know, receiving or being repelled by, you know, other aspects of abundance in our life as well. So really great awareness there, Samuel, and good to have you back. And Bill, I love your wordiness. Oh, good. Grateful to hear it, my friend. And Renee, temporary from Belgium. Oh, cool. Wow. Missing Melbourne. Well, good time not to be in Melbourne right now, Renee, as you're probably very consciously aware that we're still in our stage 4 lockdown. Better weather this way, though. We've had a couple of really hot sunny days, which is nice. But look forward to having you back when it's maybe better to be back. And also, Ram, Vanessa, your consistency, your perseverance at coaching as a light to so many. Ram, I so appreciate you, my friend, and I'm really going to receive those beautiful compliments. And also, you just gave a great example of what it is to shine light on somebody's positive aspects and give them that gift, because, you know, I could be in the blind to that. So that could be super helpful, which it is, Ram. And I so appreciate you, my friend. I'm very, very grateful to be on this journey with you, and such a kind soul. And Melanie's here as well, and Arlen is here, and Kylie, and Bill, shine on, just like you. And what I would also say is it's so beautiful, right? What you see in others is ultimately what you have within yourself. So every time you give a beautiful compliment to somebody genuinely with what you see, you're simultaneously complimenting yourself, right? Because it's in you. Okay, so remember that. And on the flip side of that, same thing is true when you are negatively judging somebody, right? Whatever you're judging and seeing in somebody else is within you. And particularly if you're emotionally charged and judgmental, it's shining light on the negative shadow that's available to your growth. And so how you operate in the world, spreading the love or spreading the hate, right? both ways of looking at what your shadows may be in the positive and in the negative. All right. So hope that's of value. And Samuel, do you have costings on your coaching? I certainly do. If you are interested in coaching, I offer a few different things. Basically, to work one-on-one with me is not cheap. I'll just be the first one to admit it. But it is very in-depth. So you got to be really committed. Like, we're going to spend some serious deep time together. I'm very invested in my one-on-one coaching clients. And so if that's something that you're ready for, I'd invite you to shoot me a message and we'll jump on a call just to check out what it's all about and see if we'd be a really great fit and see if I can really support you and in the ways that you need. And yeah, if you're ready for that, I do also offer, awesome masterclass trainings and monthly catch-up sessions and also group coaching sessions, which are more affordable because I know I want to cater for everybody. I don't want money to be the showstopper, right? I want to be able to serve and support at every level. So depending on your level of commitment, it really comes down to, then there's different options. So any of you guys who are interested in coaching, reach out to me and we'll just organize a call and I'll jump on a call with you and we'll just figure it out from there. So thank you for the question, Samuel. And if you're interested, just reach out and we'll hook up a call. So much love for each and every one of you guys today. I so appreciate you showing up and contributing to the conversation. I hope it's of value what I've shared with you guys today. Like I said, it's been hugely valuable for myself in my own life. And basically, we just got to look at not having a shadow on shadow work, right? Because that's ultimately what it is. If most people are talking about shadow work as being owning the negative aspects of ourselves, we're walking around with a shadow on shadow work. Because at the end of the day, we also need to own the positive parts of ourselves that we've been blind to, that have been in the shadows, right? Like I said, shadow work is incomplete without owning the positive aspects of yourself that you've been blind to. So hope that this has been of value to you. And Samuel, cool, that's ace. Love it. And AJ is here as well. Good to see you, my friend. So as usual, my reminder to you is to go out there and live authentically, love deeply, and contribute meaningfully. And I hope that you are really utilizing your time in your life right now to not just look at where the world's going crazy, right? But in actual fact, to go, you know what? I want to actually make a difference. I want to make a change. And to know that shadow work, both the positive and the negative aspects, is ultimately so key to not just healing yourself, but actually healing the collective shadow. So there's so much power and such a difference that you make when you work on yourself. Just don't forget that. And thank you, AJ. Awesome. So that's my message. I'm signing off. I'm sending you guys all of my love, and I will see you very, very soon. Much love.